Greetings and welcome to the RC Wall Vacuum channel. Today I'm back up here in the electronics lab, or as I like to call it, the place I go to swear and curse at things. And I got the Servo Load tester set up, and we're going to be testing 3 different servos today. I have a HiTec D845WP in there, and I got this AGF RC 78 kilogram, and I have a Rovin 75 kilogram. Interestingly enough, this AGFRC is a continuous rotation, and the pulses are reversed compared to the other ones, and their pulse width is it's a half a millisecond to run at full right in this case. So I don't have a lot of specs on these things, but I do have the Rovan. I had very little information on, other than its weight rating. The AGFRC, they give it a 7.4 volts at 66 kilogram, and at 8.4 volts at 78 kilogram. And like I said, the pulse is 0.5 milliseconds for one extreme and 2.5 milliseconds for the other extreme, which is higher than the other stuff too. In the HiTec, the 6.6 volt is 32.5 kilogram, and 7.4 volts will give it 50 kilograms. And I did find that they have a stalled current of 10 amps. I didn't find any stalled current for the other units. One thing is, with these servos is critical is the power they're running. So I have a 7.4 volt DC supply. Right now I just have I got it throttled back to like 4 amps. I do have a higher wattage one that I might put on that can go up to the 10 amps. For now I'm just going to stick to this lower wattage one. And I wanted to keep it consistent to 7.4 volts, because you know when you're running the LiPo batteries, the voltage just changes as you're running the vehicle, and the torque's going to change. So I'm using the 7.4 just to stay consistent. So the calibration setup I got in it just basically consists of a barbell weight plate and a supporting plate and a few other little things. All told though, it's 6.21 kilograms right now as is. So I'm gonna pop that off and reassemble the linkages, and I'm gonna test this HiTec first, then presumably the Rovin, because it should be going in the same direction, and then I'm gonna have to go back in and change some stuff in the software to reverse the pulses to test the AGFRC. So let me swap that over. All right, so I got this thing rigged up and ready to go here, and so like before, that column right there, it's showing negative 0.57, will be the column to watch once I start loading this thing up. So let me hit the button and see what we get. Well, 9.21 kilograms, it's far off from the rating they give. But I'm going up to 4 amps, installing out the supply. So I think I'm going to have to swap over to put the bigger supply on there. That could be the limiting factor. Okay, so I'm back now. I got these bigger supply on there, and I'll start doing some tests with that on there. That's 8 amps, and I'm still only seeing 13 kilograms showing up with 8 amps in there. So I don't know where they're getting their 50 some odd kilogram ratings on there. Pretty certain what I got set up here is actually working correctly now. So the supply is set to its max, which is actually 30 amps it can supply, but it's throttling back to 8, which I'm sure the servo's doing that. But that's applied right there, 13.22. It goes up to 8 amps, and then it shuts itself back. The servo starts shutting itself back down. Well, that would explain why it doesn't spin my steering very well. Well, I really didn't run this HiTec on there too much, but I know when I did put it on there, it was pretty weak. So that's the servo lever I have in there. That came from DDM with the HiTec, I believe, and it's 1 1/8 inch center to center. So I'm not sure where they're getting their load ratings off of this thing. I'm guessing it's probably just off the center of the drive shaft coming up and out of the servo. But I will play around with different lengths in the future and see what I end up getting. Alright, so I got the Rovan in there now, and it turns out the HiTec's was reversed. The Rovan and the AGFRC have the same direction. I don't know about their pulse widths. So let's take it over the camera over to the PC and start putting some loads on this one. Let's give it a shot. Alright, that's going up to 15. And I was also going, it's like almost 9.7 amps. So it's definitely pulling more than that HiTec, putting out more than HiTec. But still ain't nowhere near 78 kilograms. Now the arm that's on there is the same, or the servo horn's the same center to center distance, but it's actually Rovan's arm versus the DDM that was on the HiTec. So I'm going to put that AGFRC in there next and see how that goes. So now I got the AGFRC in there, and like I said, this one functions the same way as the Rovan, and the way the shafts and everything line up, I'm suspicious they may come out of the same factory. So let's go put the camera over here on the PC and see what we get off of this one. This is supposed to be 78 kilograms. And let's give it a shot. We hit 16. And we're getting 11 amps out of that. So clearly these numbers are not based on that lever length. So even though this is still in a development stage, I'm 100% confident the numbers I'm getting off of this are accurate, and that is what's being applied at that pull point, about 1.1 inches off of the axis of the output shaft off the servos. And the numbers I'm getting are a ratio of what they claim. The numbers are nowhere near what they should be. So this is still in the prototype stage, so eventually it's going to be all conveniently or neatly packaged into a little module. It'll be on here, I'll 3D print a housing to hold it. It'll have a keypad similar to this. Either one of these character LCDs, or actually I might put an OLED graphical display on there, and you'll be able to go in and select the servo, the position you want to put it, your starting position, the reversing aspect, and whatever other details are in there. Now I'm going to be doing some future videos on this where I'm going to play around with them servo lengths, or those servo horn lengths, and see if I can find out where they're actually getting those specs from. I'm guessing it is pretty close to the edge of this thing. The next stage of this is going to be, and I got it set up, but I don't have time this weekend to actually work with it, so it'll be a future video, but it's going to be the reverse. And I got a load cell, it's a different type of load cell and a fixture set up that's going to attach to the steering arm on the vehicle, and be able to drop it down in the grass or whatever else, and be able to pull and push back and get the readings that are involved with how much torque you actually have to apply to get this steering to move. And we'll see how that correlates back and forth here. But I definitely got numbers here that fill my suspicions that these numbers they give here don't really mean much, at least not at these kind of lengths. So buyer beware, or wherever you want to put it. But hopefully the next crack and run video is going to have a 100 kilogram AGFRC, and I probably will put the thing on here and test it on this to see what it actually does pull, and then we'll see how that relates back to how much the Kraken steering would put back onto as a back torque. So in the meantime, thanks for watching.